chance.
I wonder what he has to say about the sequel trilogy.
Last Jedi just, to me, felt like a movie made by a guy who hadn't quite done his homework. He didn't, for me, didn't make a compelling argument why Luke wouldn't go and help his sister. You know? Or if indeed Luke is hiding out on that island because he feels so badly for how he handled Kylo Ren, then why is Luke trash-talking Kylo Ren at the end of the movie? It just seems like, well, which is it? Do you feel bad that you hurt this boy, or you're gonna trash-talk him? You know what I mean? You would imagine that he would arrive at that fight and go, God, Ben, I'm so sorry. Ben, I'm so, the whole time, I'm so sorry. Not, yeah, whatever. I'll see you around, kid. Like, well, why is he what?
Alright, apologies. We were supposed to get to this a while ago with Sam's criticism of The Last Jedi, so let's get right into it. Now, what's the point of entry? As far as I can understand it, Sam is not totally convinced with how Rian portrayed Luke at the end, because it just seemed really out of whack with what we see at Luke at the beginning, who, wants to die, he wants to leave the Jedi, he wants the Jedi to die, and yet he shows up. And when he confronts Kylo, he's not overly sympathetic with Kylo. Now, there's several things to be said about this, and I want to be careful, this may not be Sam, but Mauler attributes that all these events are very, very recent. Now, if that's the case, that Luke, knowing that Kylo committed multiple cases of genocide, and he's not overly sympathetic, I don't see that as a major, major contradiction. It seems clear that he's there to sort of, yes, acknowledge his failure, which is a reference to Kenobi, right, in the original film, but the fact that he's not overly sensitive to what Kylo is feeling doesn't appear to me a complete contradiction, right? He just learned that Han Solo got killed by Kylo, and he has to integrate that fact into his personality in the fact that he almost killed Kylo himself, right? He thought about it. So I think people misinterpret it. He only thought about it because of what Kylo might do, and it turned out the worst fears were realized. And he's trying to cope with this difficulty that, Kylo did kill Han, but he is still somebody who could be redeemed. But he's pretty evil and dangerous at this point, and he has to save the Resistance. So there's multiple things going on in his head. I don't see this in any sense or term as a contradiction, but obviously there's a lot of tensions going on between Kylo and Luke at the very end, and he's trying to deal with this. But Sam is also interestingly saying this is how Luke appears to him. So this is a very, very acknowledged subjective take on the whole situation, which according to some people, a subjective interpretation is not what you want. So it's kind of interesting in terms of the methodology that Mauler's quoting this. But if Mauler's being accurate, I'm really puzzled that he's using this as a case study because, yes, Luke is being a little mawkish towards Kylo. He's joking with him, and in a sense, he is manipulating him. Now, that does not appear like Kenobi. I mean, Kenobi has a sense of humor, but he doesn't talk like that. But I think you have to think about these things contextually. Now, to me, something like Return of the Jedi, the way Luke is both trying to redeem Vader and yet kill him, the way that he, quote, loves his father and yet is extremely angry and almost, right, comes close to destroying him. I mean, he destroys literal parts of him. That, to me, did not make a lot of sense in terms of the whole setup with the throne room. Comparatively speaking, I do think Rian did a better job of building up what is going on, which I think is pretty obvious, which is this kind of homage to Han, right? Those words, see around, kid, are almost a word-for-word reconstruction of something that Han would say. So it's a way that he's trying to have it both ways of trying to deal with Kylo, but also integrate Han's memory into his personality. And I know I come off as Mr. Know-It-All cinema person, but I didn't know this. Even after seeing The Last Jedi a couple times, I had to be alerted to this reference by somebody else. So, yeah, it's an easy reference to miss, even if you do know cinema and do know Star Wars. And I think it's perfectly valid to say that Rian Johnson, like everybody else, needs to do more work on Star Wars. I mean, it's such a vast universe and such a vast mythology, you're going to miss things. But clearly Sam didn't realize that there is a Han Solo reference at the end. If he didn't notice that, I don't think his criticisms are all that impressive, and I think he needs to do a lot more of his homework. And I just want to end off, I have nothing but respect if you want to be critical of Rian and The Last Jedi, that's fine. But then after he says this, he puts out a tweet trying to negate everything he just said. That I don't really have a lot of respect for. It's one thing to put your position, I hate Rian Johnson, I hate The Last Jedi. That's fine. I have nothing but respect for that. But then to lie about it and try to take it back and to try to do so for financial and or professional reasons, now I don't have a lot of respect for that person. Either you state your position or you don't state your position. If you state your position, state it and let's move on. But if you try to have it both ways, I'm a little bit less impressed by that. Alright, so this has been Star Wars Analyzed, the Rian Wars on Sam Witwer's confusion about the ending of The Last Jedi. Alright, thanks for listening. Please be safe. Please hit the like button and or comment below if you can. Thanks again.